the headlines of this hour on VTV News. The Politburo issues conclusion on stimulating national science technology potentials. And later on, 38 defendants in VIET case jailed over COVID test bribes. And in a world news, the IMF predicts that global GDP could fall by 4.5% due to fragmentation.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It's currently 8 a.m. local time and you're tuning in to 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Nidin with the latest updates. Now, the Politburo has recently issued its conclusion on the continued implementation of Resolution Number 20 of the 11th Tenor Party Central Committee on developing science and technology to serve industrialization and modernization amid the socialist-oriented market economy and international integration.
According to the conclusion, the Politburo urgently requests the concretization of the party's resolution and orientation, continuously improving policies and laws related to science, technology, and innovation. This involves enhancing policies and laws on science, technology, and innovation, establishing specific mechanisms, and experimenting with new policies and risks, deploying consistent mechanisms and policies to advance science, technology, and innovation stands out as a key national priority. This entails effectively managing the state budget, drawing resources from businesses, and fostering the application of modern scientific and technological achievements. Additionally, it is crucial to integrate the progress in science and technology with socio-economic development. The Politburo also demands the continued integration of teaching activities with research and improving science and technology. It is essential to attract qualified and trained scientific and technological officials. Moreover, developing research centers and an innovative network is also emphasized in the conclusion. In addition, the Politburo's conclusion also places a focus on providing support for businesses, organizations, and individuals in researching, developing, applying, and transferring technology. Preferential policies should be directed towards products in the experimental phase that showcase innovative technologies. There is a need to enhance the quality, quantity, and efficiency of utilizing intellectual property, particularly the intellectual assets of businesses. Simultaneously, it is vital to ensure the proper protection of intellectual property rights.
Indonesian President Widodo is paying a state visit to Vietnam from January the 11th to January the 13th at the invitation of State President Võ Văn Thưởng. This visit holds great significance as both nations celebrate the 68th anniversary of diplomatic ties and the 10th anniversary of their strategic partnership. Following the official welcome ceremony at the presidential palace, the two state leaders are engaging in talks to strengthen the strategic partnership between their countries. In Southeast Asia, Indonesia is currently Vietnam's third largest trading partner, while Vietnam ranks as Indonesia's fourth largest trading partner. State President Võ Văn Thưởng emphasized the need to elevate the two countries' relations to new heights in the near future to create fresh momentum for bilateral relations, benefit the two peoples, and contribute actively to ASEAN solidarity, peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region. Indonesian President Joko Widodo expressed his delight at the increased investment between the two countries. Currently, two Indonesian unicorn businesses are investing in Vietnam, while Vietnamese business has decided to venture into Indonesia to develop their battery and electric vehicles ecosystem. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính received Indonesian President Joko Widodo in Hanoi on a three-day state visit to Vietnam on Friday afternoon. During the meeting, the two leaders affirmed that the visit had special meaning, helping to create new momentum for relations between the two countries after more than 10 years of establishing the strategic partnership and moving towards the 70th anniversary of its establishing diplomatic relation.
During the meeting, the two leaders greatly appreciated the strong relationship between the two countries, particularly in economic and trade cooperation. In the first 11 months of 2023, foreign investment capital from Indonesia into Vietnam increased by 37%, with a total newly registered capital of more than $1 billion and a total trade turnover reaching nearly $13 billion. The two leaders agreed to consider bringing the strategic partnership to a new level soon, strive to bring bilateral trade turnover to $15 billion soon and reach $18 billion before 2028, creating favorable conditions and encouraging businesses of the two countries to invest in each other's markets. Vietnam and Indonesia also cemented cooperation in defense, security, fisheries and aquaculture cooperation, education, training, tourism, people-to-people exchanges, and increasing commercial flight routes for direct trade. The Prime Minister asked Indonesia to send a high-ranking representative and support Vietnam in successfully organizing the ASEAN Future Forum on Rapid, Sustainable, People-Centered Development in 2024.
National Assembly Chairman Phie met with Indonesian President Joko Widodo in Hanoi on January the 12th. The host leader welcomed President Widodo on the latter's second visit to Vietnam, which holds great significance after the two countries celebrated the 10th founding anniversary of their strategic partnership in 2023. Vietnam has always tried to work with Indonesia to promote the strategic partnership more practically and extensively. National Assembly Chairman Phie held that the increase of mutual visits at all levels and via all channels, the improvement of the existing cooperation mechanisms' effectiveness, and the expansion of cooperation between the two countries' localities and friendship associations would help foster people-to-people ties. President Joko Widodo spoke highly of the close cooperation between the Vietnamese National Assembly and the House of Representatives of Indonesia, welcoming the two legislative bodies' signing of a cooperation agreement in August 2023. He also affirmed support for stronger ties, experience sharing, and exchanges, including visits by high-ranking delegations. Now, Prime Minister Phie on January the 12th sent a congratulatory message to the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, following her re-election as the Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Now, moving on to other news, the 18th theoretical workshop between the Communist Party of Vietnam, or CPV, and the Communist Party of China, CPC, was held in Ho Chi Minh City on Friday. The CPV delegation was led by Politburo member Nguyễn Xuân Thắng, president of the Ho Chi Minh National Academy of Politics and chair of the Central Theoretical Council. Meanwhile, the CPC delegation was led by Politburo member Li Shu-li, secretary of the CPC Central Committee's Secretariat and head of the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee. During the workshop, the two officials shared theoretical achievements and practical experiences of the two parties in leading and implementing strategies and policies regarding environmental protection, ecological civilization, and national development. Also at the meeting, Nguyễn Xuân Thắng affirmed that Vietnam attaches great importance to deepening bilateral ties with China. He also proposed certain directions for future cooperation between the two sides. Coming up next on VTV News, 38 defendants in VIET case jailed over COVID test bribes. And later on, Vietnam aims to boost coffee exports in 2024. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Now moving on to other important updates, the Hanoi People's Court on January the 12th sentenced a former Minister of Health Nguyễn Thanh Long to 18 years of prison for taking bribes in the COVID-19 test kit case involving VIET Technology Joint Stock Company. Sentences were also announced for 37 other defendants, including those from the VIET company, former ministries of health and science and technology officials, and ex-officials from provincial centers of disease control and prevention (CDC). Specifically, Phan Quốc Việt, CEO and chair of the VIET company, received 14 years in jail for violating bidding regulations, causing serious consequences, and an additional 15 years behind bars for giving bribes. Vũ Đình Hiệp, Deputy General Director of the VIET company, was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Other defendants in the COVID kit test scandal received imprisonment sentences ranging from 24 months to 5 years and 6 months in jail. Now, despite a rise in global economic uncertainty, Vietnam shipped 1.61 million tons of coffee abroad in 2023, earning $4.18 billion, which is an increase of 3.1% in value year-on-year. However, Vietnam's coffee exports are expected to continue facing challenges this year due to a slowdown in global economic growth. It has forced domestic coffee companies to map out plans to maintain the current momentum.
This company is well known for its high-quality coffee. Its coffee has been exported to more than 100 countries. Every year, the company exports about 80,000 tons of coffee, 65% of which is exported to the EU market. Since the end of 2023, the company has entered into contracts with new markets, helping it reach more consumers and increase sales.
In 2023, the sales growth rate reached about 25% as our coffee is exported to new markets such as the Middle East. Drinking tea is a traditional habit in Arab countries, but now, young people prefer drinking coffee. In addition, we're planning to export our coffee to the United States.
The Vietnam Coffee and Cocoa Association expects member companies to obtain organic farming certifications such as the Rainforest Alliance or the UTZ certification program to maintain the current momentum.
Farmers, cooperatives, and businesses have improved the quality of coffee by switching to organic farming methods. Thanks to their joint efforts, Vietnamese coffee has become popular worldwide.
Vietnam's coffee exports are expected to face many challenges in 2024. In addition, as the EU's new law on deforestation starts to apply on December 30th this year, EU markets will ban products made from forest degradation-inducing wood. The EU's new regulations will greatly affect Vietnam's coffee production and exports.
When the new law takes effect, Vietnamese coffee companies must have the necessary documents showing that their coffee is not grown in deforested lands. EU markets will ban companies that do not meet their requirements.
The EU's deforestation law will benefit coffee farmers and companies as it raises public awareness about environmental protection. This way, Vietnamese coffee will reach more consumers in other countries.
With a total area of 650,000 hectares, Vietnam's coffee export revenue is expected to hit $5 billion this year, making it the world's second-largest coffee supplier. Domestic companies should improve their coffee quality, restructure operations, and foster transparency and responsibility to maintain the current momentum.
Considered black gold, Vietnamese pepper is responsible for 60% of global production. According to preliminary statistics from the General Department of Customs, Vietnam exported nearly 270,000 tons of pepper in 2023, with a value of almost $1 billion. This achievement can be attributed to the advantage that Vietnamese export businesses have over countries like India, Malaysia, and Indonesia, thanks to the EVFTA. The EVFTA has helped reduce import taxes on ground or crushed pepper to the EU from 4% to 0%. Furthermore, the US has shifted its imports from India to Vietnamese pepper due to its competitive pricing and increasingly high quality. Vietnam's pepper industry is also praised for its processing capacity, with processed goods accounting for approximately 30% of the total export turnover. The State Bank of Vietnam, or SBV, has recently assigned a full-year 15% credit growth quota for 2024 to commercial banks, instead of dividing it into shorter periods as in previous years. This has enabled credit institutions to streamline procedures proactively, facilitating businesses and customers to access capital more easily.
In January, many banks reduced the interest rates for home loans to a new level of around 6% per annum, the lowest in the past 20 years. Moreover, some banks offer an interest-free period of over 2 years, providing home buyers with more favorable terms.
I can establish a home while managing family expenses thanks to the preferential lending interest rates.
Setting a 15% credit target for 2024 from the beginning of the year will inject the equivalent of around 2 quadrillion VND into the economy this year. However, the SBV still allows further credit growth limits if businesses and individuals require additional capital.
The set credit growth target for 2024 allows credit institutions to manage credit in line with customer needs throughout the year. This is also a positive signal for businesses.
The SBV has certain constraints when a bank shows overheated growth or provides preferential interest rate loans for their executives and the latter's associates, leading to unfair credit access.
Banks must still report monthly and periodically to the central bank on the credit growth situation and the credit destination. This must be linked with the capital adequacy ratio to control lending/investment and owner's equity. This is also an international practice.
Resolution 01, recently issued by the government, emphasizes the directive to channel credit into priority sectors and economic growth drivers. It encourages credit institutions to reduce costs, simplify loan procedures, and strive to lower loan interest rates.
The coastal area of the East Sea within the jurisdiction of Cà province continuously faces large waves and strong winds that erode soil and protection forests. In recent years, this locality has flexibly deployed effective solutions to cope with these challenges. Prominent among them is the public-private partnership model in constructing works to prevent coastal erosion.
This wave barrier is the first coastal erosion prevention project in Cà province implemented through a socialization model. In return, the province prioritizes leasing over 100 hectares of coastal land to the enterprise for developing an ecotourism complex.
The total investment for this project is $2.9 million. The embankment project has successfully protected the inland coastline and created a sedimentation area.
To date, Cà province has invested in the construction of nearly 63 kilometers of coastal embankments, with a total budget exceeding $81 million. More investors have recently proposed to socialize the investments in coastal erosion prevention projects.
Many investors, especially foreign investors, are interested in investing in coastal erosion prevention embankments. In return, they propose to receive carbon credits for the forested areas they join force to protect.
Socializing coastal erosion preventive measures is an innovative solution, but its implementation can face challenges related to policies and laws, such as forestry laws and land laws. We need to address these bottlenecks.
Many managers and experts believe that the public-private partnership model not only reduces the burden on the public investment budget, but also timely protects the areas of coastal land and forests in Cà province. On the other hand, businesses can capitalize on leased land within embankments to generate additional revenue for the local budget, contributing to the economic development of project areas.
The Border Spring Warms Up People's Hearts program is being held in border areas until the Lunar New Year to support people facing difficult circumstances. In Vạn Gia Island, Mong Cái City, Quảng Ninh Province, military medical staff have provided free health checkups and medicine to hundreds of local people. The border guard has also presented 90 gifts and handed over new houses to those in need. Over the next 2 weeks, additional activities will be implemented to support people on the island. This includes sending over 600 gifts and 600 chung cakes to families and students facing difficult circumstances. The Border Spring Warms Up People's Hearts program showcases the border guards' responsibility towards the people and the strong bonds between soldiers and the residents of border areas and islands. It contributes to the cause of protecting the country's territorial sovereignty, border and island security. Showcasing the cultural heritage of a city via projection mapping is an intriguing way to narrate a story and attract tourists' attention. In several major Vietnamese cities, projection mapping shows were hosted at places of historical relevance to enhance their aesthetic, cultural, and social values. Visualization technologies have proved effective in boosting local tourism.
For the first time, people in the central province of Thừa Thiên Huế were treated to a feast of light staged by French and Vietnamese artists. Utilizing cutting-edge 3D mapping lighting technology to cast mesmerizing visual effects on Ngọ Môn Gate, the show spotlighted local landscapes in 4 seasons.
The art show is amazing. The music performances are very good. This is the first time I've attended such a breathtaking art show.
The art show is stunning and beautiful. A large number of locals and tourists came here to enjoy the show.
An Áo Dài show, the place where I was born, was recently held at the Temple of Literature in Hanoi. The show attracted many visitors by featuring projection mapping in the fashion show. Visualization technologies not only brought out the beauty of Vietnamese women in Áo Dài.
The nighttime fashion show attracted many visitors, providing a unique experience compared to other cultural activities during the day.
We used visualization technologies such as XR, 3D mapping, and hologram. These techniques can engage visitors with stunning visual effects.
Visualization technologies have breathed new life into historical landmarks, engaging young people and contributing to cultural heritage preservation. These technologies are expected to bridge the gap between cultures and destinations in ways previously unimaginable.
Coming up next in our world news. U.S. calls for Iran to release seized tanker immediately. And later on, IMF predicts global GDP could fall by 4.5% due to fragmentation. Now moving on to our world news, the United States on Thursday condemned Iran's seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Oman. Washington threatened retaliation over the seizure of the St. Nicholas. The tanker, previously called the Suez Rajan, was renamed after a long-running court case led to 980,000 tons of Iranian oil being unloaded from the ship in Texas last September. Speaking at a press conference, the United States Department of State spokesperson called for the immediate release of the ship and its crew. Previously, Iranian state media said Iran has seized an American oil tanker in the waters of the Gulf of Oman by a court order. The seizure was retaliation for a violation committed by the Suez Rajan ship and the U.S. seizure of nearly 1 million barrels of Iranian crude oil in September last year. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, on Thursday reiterated that the cost of fragmentation could be significant, noting that global GDP could fall by 4.5% in extreme de-risking scenario. According to IMF spokesperson Julie Kozak, there are some initial signs of de-risking and fragmentation in the data that IMF is looking at. Certain foreign direct investment is increasingly flowing among geopolitically aligned countries. Supply chains are lengthening and there is gradual increase in trade restrictions over the last 5 years. The IMF said it had looked at the economic implication of de-risking strategies. Some of them could pose a potential drag on the economy. According to the International Energy Agency, or IEA, global renewable energy capacity in 2023 grew at the fastest rate in the last 20 years. The world's renewable energy grew by 50% last year to 510 gigawatts, with solar photovoltaic accounting for 3/4 of additions worldwide. The largest growth occurred in China, which commissioned as much solar photovoltaic in 2023 as the world did in 2022. China's wind power projects rose by 66% year-on-year. The increases in renewable energy capacity in Europe, the United States, and Brazil also hit all-time highs. The IEA report also found that the world is now on track to grow renewables capacity by 2.5 times by 2030. Dyson has just released its latest global study that examines the indoor air quality of the world's homes. The company's first global connected air quality data project examined the indoor air quality for more than 2.5 million Dyson air purifiers. And the results are shocking.
The study collected more than 500 billion data points from air purifiers connected to the My Dyson app in nearly 40 countries around the world from 2022 to 2023. It found that all countries' monthly average indoor particulate matter 2.5 level exceeded WHO long-term exposure guidance for at least 6 months in the year.
Air quality indoors is actually worse than air quality outdoors. That's true for 11 months of the year. It's pretty normal. So when you think about it, you spend a lot of your life indoors. You spend a lot of your life in your home. It's where you sleep. And the impact of air pollution will be how much there is, how concentrated it is, but also how long you spend exposed to it. So if indoor air pollution is worse than outdoor, and that's what we're seeing, that's really important, really impactful for people.
People might be quite surprised at the sources of indoor air pollution. Cooking can be a major source of it. Particles can get stuck in our carpets, so when we're walking over our carpets or over wooden floors, slightly less. If you're exercising indoors, that can produce particles. So we can lower the amount of particulate matter in our house by general cleaning, making sure that you vacuum, making sure that there isn't those particles that are loose in carpets or flooring that can be resuspended easily, making sure that we wash our bedding regularly to make sure any particles that fall off us in the night get washed out.
In most countries studied, indoor particulate matter 2.5 levels were highest at night and during the evenings when most people are at home, rather than at work or school.
And now here's a brief look at the weather forecast. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website or YouTube channel or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.